Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's energy mantra. So, today's energy mantra is I acknowledge what, or I acknowledge and align with what feels true to me. So, once again, today's energy mantra is I acknowledge and align what feels true to me or the truth in me. And so today's energy mantra is such a wonderful invitation for us. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. So today's energy mantra is a beautiful reminder for us to really be willing to acknowledge what is in alignment with the truth of who we are and what is not in alignment with the truth of who we are. All too often, what happens, I think, is that we tend to take what does not serve us or what is not in alignment with us anymore, and we really hold on to that. And we hold on to it because we are worried, because we're actually afraid of letting that thing that doesn't serve us go, because we're afraid if we let that go, then we're not going to have anything. And right there is our one thing that we need to look at. And one thing we need to realize is that once we let something go, that's how even more things can come in for us. But we have to acknowledge, we can't go into ignorance and just be like, oh, la, 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 close your ears, close your eyes and be like, no, I'm not going to look at it. Because then all that happens is you just continue to be blocked. You continue to not be in alignment with the truth of who you are. And we all know how that feels. We know what it feels like to be in alignment with the truth of who we are. When we're in alignment with the truth of who we are, when we acknowledge that which feels good to us, we feel good. Life is effortless. Everything flows. And life just becomes more and more wondrous, more and more happy, because you're acknowledging what feels good to you and you're going in that direction. You're aligning yourself with that feeling of joy. You're aligning yourself with that feeling of happiness. You're aligning yourself with that feeling of purpose and fulfillment. You're aligning yourself with peace, which is your true and essential nature. When we don't acknowledge, when we just choose to be like, oh no, this is, and instead of choosing to acknowledge what feels good and then not choosing to acknowledge what doesn't, what we're doing is we know how not acknowledging the truth of who we are also feels. So we know how it feels to acknowledge the truth and how it feels not to. When we don't acknowledge the truth of who we are, when we're unwilling to look at those things that don't bring us joy, that don't feel purposeful, that feel not so good, then that's where life starts to get really boring. That's where life just seems to become an endless cycle of I get up, I do this, I do that, I go to sleep, and I get up and I do it all again. And that's not what life is about. Life is meant to be wondrous. Life is meant to be happy. Life is meant to be joyful. That's what life is meant to be. But if we're unwilling to acknowledge what doesn't serve us and what does serve us, then that's where we get into this limbo state of where we have like peaks of happiness. We're like, oh my God, everything's great. And then it seems like we have this pendulum fall and we're just like, oh my God, life is so boring. This just isn't. Not at all. We have to remember and align with that truth of who we are, because if we do not, if we choose to just not acknowledge and just be like, whatever, then, like I said, that's where we're going to have this pendulum effect of, oh my God, I'm in the light. Oh my God, I'm in the depths of darkness. Oh my God, I'm back in the light. We don't want that anymore. We don't want, that pendulum anymore. We want to align ourselves with that which is the truth of who we are, and we want to be willing to acknowledge what is not. we have to really look at our lives and look at every area of our lives. Where am I not happy? Why am I not happy? What steps can I take today to lead me towards that happiness? That's the questions we have to ask ourselves and be willing to acknowledge. Like I said, there's a fear of acknowledging what is there because we're afraid if we acknowledge it, that means we name it. If we name it, that means we claim it. And if we claim it, dear Lord, that means we have to deal with it. And that's where people get really afraid because they're afraid to look inside themselves because they're afraid there is this dark, terrible monster that is waiting there. There is no dark, terrible monster within you. Not at all. And the only thing that is within you is the light. That's what's in you. Now, that light may be obscured by different thought systems, different beliefs that create these shadows that seem to be inside of you. But remember, what's making that shadow? It's the light that is in you. It is obscured by this object or by this belief, by this pattern, by whatever it is. And then it seems to be creating this big, scary monster. But if we get closer with the light, we can shine it on there and acknowledge it and be like, oh my God, this is just a tiny, teeny little molehill. This is nothing to be concerned with. I can sweep it away because I've acknowledged it. I see that it's there. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't necessarily need this anymore. And then what do you know? It disappears. And that is what light does. Light, which I like to say is awareness. When you take that light of awareness, the light of the truth of who you are, and you shine it on those things that are obscuring the truth, or that you have been unwilling to acknowledge, they disappear. Why do they disappear? Because in the presence of light, there can be no darkness. So light and dark don't fight. There is this very common misconception that, we have that light fights the darkness and darkness fights the light. But consider this. When you walk into a dark room, and you open the light, is there a divide in the middle of the light fighting the dark and they're trying to push against each other? No, the light illuminates the That's what it does. And when you turn off the light, guess what? Is the light and the dark fighting each other to get the room back? No. The light turns off. Okay. Well, then there's the shadows. There's the darkness. So then we turn on the light. Oh, okay. And the light has come back. That's really it. That's what acknowledging is. When we acknowledge the truth of who we are, we're turning on the light. And when we acknowledge those things that are not there, okay, when we acknowledge those blocks, those things that no longer serve the truth of who we are, that is where our power is. Because we're turning on the light of the truth of who we are. Well, wonderful. I'm so glad it could be a powerful meeting for you today, Shirley. It's always my pleasure to be of service. So remember that today we're going to acknowledge the truth of who we are. We're going to acknowledge that which is in alignment with the truth of who we are. And we're also going to acknowledge those things that are no longer in alignment with the truth of who we are. Whatever those things may be. Maybe it's an old belief system. Maybe it's an old way of doing things. Maybe it's an old relationship. But we're going to look at those things today, and we're going to look at it with the light of our awareness. We're going to look at it with the light of the truth of who we are. So that is today's energy mantra. I do want to give everyone the reminder that on August the 7th, I will be doing my masterclass with Deborah Bowen, the Inner Queen Coach. We're going to be doing Affirm the Future, and that is free for you. You can actually go to www.ronschaefer27. Actually, you know what? The link, I'll just put the link down there. But you can go to the Claim Your Peace Now. That's what it will. The link, you'll see the link here in just a minute or so. And you can go there, just click register, put in your name, put in your email, And then you will be registered for the course. As you register for the course, you will get my 5-day mini challenge, which is Claim Your Peace Now. You will receive that in the email. Then the day, I believe 1 hour before, you'll get before the event, you will get another email coming to you that will give you the Zoom access. And once again, this is all free. All of this is free. There is nothing that you pay. So if you're interested in working with myself or working with Debbie, if you're interested in actually having like a conversation with us about affirmation and intention, about how we really do begin to create the reality that we see, and you're ready to take that step with both of us, then why not join the class? What do you have to lose? August 7th, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's where that will be. I'm going to put the link here in the broadcast. And then, of course, it'll be on the 10 o'clock post as well. So I thank you for joining me. I thank you for being here. And I will see you all tomorrow for our weekend contemplation.